Ever been listening to your favorite podcast and think, hey, I want to start my own? Then you need Anchor. It's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First, everyone's favorite word free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can even make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
In desperate need of change, Kylar McCarran accepts a new position out of town. Unfortunately, tragedy strikes before her start date, and she's thrust into the unpredictable world of grieving. Life as Kylar knew it changed once a secret is revealed, making her question everyone around her. When his mentor asks him to take an emergency trip, Damien Kennedy doesn't hesitate. From the looks to success, he has it all. But there's so much more to him than what meets the eye. Kyler is determined to find out what is hidden underneath his layers, but that could be the difference between life and death. Damien walked into Kyler's life and unexpectedly got caught in her web. The one person who made him see women differently was the one he was ordered to stay away from. Unable to fight the feeling Kyler provided, he didn't. Now it was life or death. Hello, my beautiful people, and welcome back to the Bibliophile's Bookcase. We are here to discuss part 1 and 2 of You Got Me All In by Kaylyn. I love this little series. Let's just jump right into it. So, Kylar McCarran is her name. So she is a young lady who unfortunately loses her mother. So we start off at her mother's funeral. So, of course, she's upset, grieving her mom, and now it's just her and her dad. Now, at the funeral, she sees her dad, like, there's a man talking to her dad, and she's like, who is that talking to my dad looking crazy? And when she walks over, she hears her dad say, like, do you have to do this now? Does it have to be done today? So this is where she unfortunately finds out that her dad is not her dad, and the man kind of arguing with her father is her biological father. And as soon as she finds this out, she runs away with this man that she had been eyeing across the room. Um, and he, takes her out of there. He takes her back to his hotel because he can see that she's hurting. I take that back. She went to the bathroom and was like crying, and he walked in and he was like, damn, oh shit, my bad. And then he pulls her into a hug and she's like, do you have a car? I just need to get out of here. So he's like, yeah, come on. And so he takes her back to his hotel and she turns off her phone because she's like, I just can't deal with this. I've been hit with too much all at once. I done lost my mama. Now I'm finding out that my daddy not my daddy. And this nigga just looking me in my face like I'm supposed to embrace him with open arms. And which I can understand is hard because it's like, damn, you've been lied to all your life about who you thought was your dad. And then it's like maybe something clicked in her head because when they got to his hotel room, she's basically telling him, like, there's nothing that's going to happen here. I hope you're not crazy. And he not giving off none of them vibes. He ain't saying nothing to her. Like, he ain't did nothing to make her think that he would try anything like that. And so he's like, you the one that asked me to take you somewhere, and I did it to help you ease your mind or get your mind off what you're going through. But if you're going to be acting like that, then you stay in here and I'll go out into the living room. Which he does. Like, he leaves her in the bedroom by herself. He goes sits out on the couch and it's just like, man, I really ain't got time for this. But she comes back out and they sit and have a conversation. He orders her something to eat. Because he's like, I bet you ain't eat nothing all day. So we just gonna sit back and chill. And like a couple hours later, because she gets some sleep, like she falls asleep on him. A couple hours later, she cuts her phone back on because she had cut it off. She's like, I don't want to talk to nobody, child. And everybody's like, girl, where have you been? We've been worried sick about you. And, basically, she goes back to her dad's house, or who she knows to be her dad. Now, the thing is, after she's that bomb had been dropped on her, she's moving. She's moving out of state. She's moving to LA, I believe. I forgot. I don't know. I should be taking notes. It's like some books I take notes on, and other stories I just feel like I got it down packed. I don't need no notes, and maybe I should have took notes. Um, but yeah, so she's moving, and come to find out, she's moving to where her biological father lives, and she's working for this company. I think it's a marketing company, and her apartment, her condo is not ready, or it's not going to be ready. So basically, she moved without having anywhere to stay. Now, the guy that took her away from the funeral, she Lord forgive me, he actually knows her father. He's like his right hand man, and they run into each other while she's sitting at the bar, like drinking her troubles away. And he's like, do you know who your dad is? He basically runs the city, runs the state. So if you need anything, just call him and tell him. And she's like, no, I'm not doing that. I just met that man, and I'm not finna just come right off the bat using him for what he has. Like, I'm not trying to involve him in nothing. I didn't know that he even stayed here. Like, this was pre-planned before that day even happened and I knew anything about him. And so he's like, all right, cool. He called her dad. Her biological father's name is Jabari, and when I first read the name, I cracked up for like 10 minutes because I'm pretty sure somebody already told Kaylyn this. But of course, I thought about girlfriends and Tony calling that boy everything but his name. Um, so I was like, okay, yeah, I cannot call him Jabari, but he's known as Zeus because he's like, he that nigga. So, but and then he got the nerve to have a stuck up mama, Zeus's mama. She's like, where did this girl come from? How she don't want you for your money? And he's like, we both just found out about each other. Like, he didn't know about her either. So it's just like, and he was fucked up about it because he's like, for the last 27 years, he been walking around not knowing that he had a child on this earth. And that's so awkward, like trying to build a relationship with each other. And it's just like, y'all don't know shit about each other. And it's real awkward. And it's like he wanted her to come in calling him dad right off the bat. And she's like, I can't do that to my daddy. Because that man, what's his name? His name was Michael. Michael was heartbroken at the fact that he lost his wife and then basically lost his daughter as well. Because it's like she is upset with him and she's moving. So, and she ain't called to check on him or nothing like that. Just did that man wrong, child. But, and I understood. I gave her some grace. Now, her mama left some journals for her, like some, yeah, journals. And with her reading the journals and like figuring out about her mom's life, it slowly starts to drive Kyler crazy. And in the midst of her like learning about her mom's life and the things that she went through, she's also developing this relationship with Zeus and Damon at the same time. And Zeus tells Damon, not my daughter, stay away from my daughter. She not, like, you cannot get with her, none of that. And he's like, no, I ain't even on that type of time. I ain't think about her like that. She just cool. Now, Zeus and Damon's relationship is, Damon tried to steal from Zeus at a young age, and I think Zeus caught him and like took him under his wing and all that type of stuff. And Damon has been to jail. He actually went to jail taking a rap for his younger brother, who it's just so much going on, but it's so good. Um, so Damon and his younger brother, they grew up with their mother. Her name was Fran, which broke my heart because if y'all know Hey Fran, Hey from the internet, I was like, no, don't be bringing all this negativity to Fran's good name, child. Um, but she like basically loved the younger child and hated Damon, didn't want nothing from him. It's like something was wrong with either her car or her house, and the younger brother calls him like, please come talk some sense into her. And as soon as he walked in the door, she like, what you call him for? I would have turned right back around like, right, what did you call me for? Like, I don't need this shit from her and I don't need it from you. Like, you know that our relationship is not the best. So what are you calling me over here to communicate with her for? And you know, with all my people that I love to read and love to go back to, I notice what their books like, what the common theme is. So it's like if you ever read Kaylyn from the three, has it been three? Maybe four. The four books are like four series that I've read from her. Her thing is mommy issues. All of the characters from the four books that I've read like have a messed up relationship with their mother. Um, who is it? Who else is it that I notice has a common like? Oh, Nikki Brown. If you ever read a Nikki Brown's book, whoever you thought was your best friend is not your best friend, and they sleeping with your man behind your back. That's her common thing. I had to think about the books that I've read. Um, Bianca, with Bianca, I noticed that all her like they're kind of naive in a way. Like they get turned out. They're naive and then they get turned out. Then they turn into some little hood chicks. I think. Yeah, that's okay. Anyway, sorry. Back to the. It just randomly popped into my head, so I'm like, yeah, let's talk about that. Um, but yeah, all of her characters, not all. Let me stick to what I know. The books I read, one of the characters is gonna have a problem with their mama or both of them, and it happens to be both of them. Because even though Kyler throughout both books, she misses her mom, she loves her mom. While her mom was alive, they did not have the best relationship. But you know, like once people die, of course, it's just like, oh, I love you. I never got to say this. I never got to do this. And going back to the journal, so it's like the more she read about her mom and like that's another thing that pissed me off. It's just like I don't why you couldn't say this while you was alive. Like you basically ruined your child. And then like you want to write all this stuff down and it's like, oh, when I die, she'll finally know what's going on. And so while they're getting to know each other, like Damien had to tell her, like, you need to put these down and like basically live your life. Like you are letting these journal entries that she left you consume you, and I hate to see you like this. You need to be talking to your dad and you need to be talking to your other daddy, you know, like don't shut him out either. He did what he thought was best, you know, like he raised you from a baby. He loves you. He still cares about you. Like don't do that to him because like I said, he also lost his wife. So he has no one. Like don't yeah, you can be upset. Of course you have the right to be upset because you've been lied to your whole life, but don't shut him out either because okay, so you find out that it was a lie. Like, does that change the memories that you have with him? I've always wanted to ask somebody that, like, who has actually went through that. Because when, like, children find out they're adopted and all that, because I've seen movies like that. It's like when you find out that your parent isn't your parent, it's just like, I've been lied to my whole life. Like, we can unpack that. Yes, you have been lied to. So that is not nothing to just throw to the side. But what does that change in your life? Like your parent, like that person is still your parent. They raised you. They love you. Like it's just the fact that y'all don't share DNA. Cause some people, like when they find out, it's like I hate you. I never want to talk to you again. And I'm like, I don't know that, and it is a lie, but it's like in the grand scheme of lies, what does that really hurt? But I don't know. So I'm like, I'm not saying it to dismiss anybody's feelings. I'm just saying in the way that I think about it, like what does it really hurt? And her and Brett, like they excuse me, they don't really have a relationship. Like I said, like the trying to parent years and you can't really tell me what to do. He's basically like just another older person in her life because they never really get close like that. And when she starts to get close to Dane, Zeus is noticing this. He's like, what's going on here? Didn't I say you stay with? And Dane was lying that whole time. He's like, man, I told you I ain't on that. I'm not thinking about it. But Zeus finds out anyway. And when he finds out, he kidnaps Dane and basically he holding that nigga hostage. And it was right around the time like Dame and Kyler had spent the night together, like they had sex, and then she can't find him. And then she calls the brother, and he like, "What you calling me for?" And she like nigga, I don't want to talk to you. Like, where Dame at? I haven't heard from him, haven't seen him, like none of that. Like, where he at? And he like, right, I haven't talked to him either. So they started to put two and two together. So she realizes like what he did, and she goes to her dad and is like, "Where is he? Tell me where he is, like right now." And of course, Zeus is like, "Didn't I tell y'all that y'all couldn't do this?" So he had to pay the consequences of his actions. And she's like, "Man, I ain't trying to hear that shit. Take me to my man right now." And before that, like even when they was talking and kissing and sneaking and all that stuff, it wasn't like written in stone what they were doing with each other, because it's like it ain't even really a relationship because he's still doing him at the end of the day. So when Zeus takes her to him, Dame done lost weight. Like he down bad. And so she tells she tells Zeus, like, I will never have a relationship with you again. Like, we will never speak. Like, whatever we were building, it stops right now unless you let him go. And of course, that's like his, what is it? Achilles heel. He can't say no to his daughter. So his only threat is telling Damien that he better treat her right, or basically he's gonna die anyway. And Damien didn't even want her to do that because it's like, I don't know if I can give you what you need. So if I end up hurting you, I'm gonna die anyway. So you might as well just get out of here. But she's not letting him do that. She's like, you're not going to push me away in this situation. Like, we just gonna see where it goes, and like that'll be that. And I think my one true gripe with the story was when Kyler tried to have his back, like how he had hers. Everybody around her was calling her spoiled and saying, she's just spoiled like that. She don't understand that she just need to sit down somewhere. I'm like, that's not being spoiled. That's showing your people love. Like, I get, he's like, I'm the man. You ain't gotta do nothing for me. I got this. And she's like, no, I love you and I'm gonna look out for you like how you looked out for me. Because at one point when Fran like finds out about her, she wants to invite her to dinner, and she's still talking crazy about Damien. And Kyler like, not in front of me. You're not gonna talk about him. And he like, man, let it go. Just let her say whatever. And Kyler is like, no, because the mom never knew that the reason why Damien went to jail was for the younger brother, because he held that down. It's like, She don't need to know that. There's no reason to tell her. And when Fran was just popping her shit, Kyler like, do you even know that the reason why he did? And like leading up to it, he kept telling her like, stop, do not. And she said it anyway. And he was pissed. Like he left her at the house by, by herself, and like he drove off, and he like wouldn't even talk to her for a couple of days. And once again, they was calling her spoiled. Like she just spoiled. She don't get it. It's like, no, she's talking like she treats you like shit. She talking about shit that she does not know. So, I had to set her straight. Um, but the underlying reason for that is because he didn't feel like it would make a difference. Like if she knew that he went to jail to protect her favorite child that she loved so much, she was still gonna look at him like he wasn't shit. Like she used to be an alcoholic, and I think she was on drugs too. And one night she tells him like, I was right in naming you Damien because you are a demon. And he was, what, 13 years old, and that always stuck with him. Like she really said that I was a demon, and that basically like she regrets having me because I'm just such a problem in her life. And later on, when he tells her that, like, she doesn't even remember, and he knows she doesn't. When he tells her that she said it, she's looking at him like, I said that. And it's just like, yeah, you did. And it stuck with him for the rest of his life and basically ruined him. Because even though he was having sex with women, he would never let a woman in for fear of they would do the same thing to him, like tell him he wasn't good enough or anything like that. And here comes Kyler, just like willing to see past all of that. And so they live happily ever after, because she wasn't gonna let her new father come in the picture and tell her what she can and cannot do. And she told Damien, "You not gonna run away from me. We gonna get through this together." And eventually, she reads through all of the journal entries from her mom, and her mom telling her she loves her and to live her life and all that stuff. And real quick, because it's not like it's a plot in the story, but I really didn't care too much about it, because the mama, in order to stay rich, I guess she ran off Kyler's mama, because that was the thing. Like she paid her, or tried to pay her to leave, and she crashed into her car to get her to leave, like while she was pregnant with Kyler. And when Kyler was driving, like somebody ran straight into her and like messed her car up. So she was in the hospital for a few days. Kind of find out that it was Zeus's mama behind that. Like she just wanted her to leave. And Zeus had a niece and nephew who were twins who um stayed with him. And of course, Princess being the only girl that whole time, when Kyler comes through the door, she did not want her around. Basically, like, where she come from, and do you even really know that this your daughter? And it's like they had a DNA test, so that squashed all that. It's like, yes, it's his daughter. um and then it's just like she just, now you want to talk about spoiled. Princess was the one that was spoiled and really had no logic in feeling the way that she felt about Kyler, and kept saying that Damien could do better with somebody else, but she was happy that he was coming out of his shell. And it's just like, really, what's your problem? You're intimidated by your cousin for no reason, because it's like she was stank from the get-go, and Kyler did nothing to her. But she was best friends with Zara, who was Damien's ex-girlfriend. And Zara was engaged to this guy who she really did not want to be with, does not want to be with, but her family is forcing her to, because it's old money, marrying old money, so keeping the money going and growing. Um, so this whole time while he been single, her thing was, I'm engaged. I'm not worried about him. Like, I'm not thinking about him. I've moved on. Then Kyler comes in the picture, and then all of a sudden it's, I still love you, and I want to be with you. And he's like, man, don't you got a fiance? And I got my new lady now. Like, that chapter is closed. And so one night after they meet together and have that conversation, Zara has like all these bruises on her, and Damien is arrested for assaulting her, which he did not do. When he left her, he had called Princess to come sit with her because it's like, your best friend been drinking and she talking crazy, like, come sit with her. And while no, he got out of jail, he went to talk to Princess and he asked her, he like, what the hell happened that night after she left with you? Because, like, I left her with you and I went home. I didn't touch her. And she's like, after I talked her down and got her to go home, she didn't have them bruises either. So I don't know what happened. Kind of find out she did it to herself, and I guess told her family that he did it and they wanted to press charges. Um, Kyler also became pregnant, and at what was supposed to be his surprise birthday party actually became a surprise engagement party, and he asked her to marry him. So they got married and had a son. He really wanted a daughter. He did not want a son because of his issues with his parents. Like, his father neglected them, like, did not claim either one of them. Um Basically said he didn't have no kids, and if they was his kids, that mean their mama trapped him, and he wasn't gonna do nothing for them. He was a pimp. Their daddy was a pimp, and so because of his parental issues, he's like, how am I going to teach my son how to be a man, and how am I going to be a good parent to him when I didn't have one? And but I'm like, so how are you going to raise your daughter then? You were just going to put her off on Kyler and just come around when you felt like it? I'm like, just because you want this child to be a specific gender does not mean that the other parent is not involved in the parenting. Like, that makes no sense. But they end up having a boy, and then on the wedding date, which tripped me out, he got a letter from Kyler's mama, and at first he wasn't even gonna read it because he like, how the fuck she got a letter from me and she didn't even know me? But it was really just to whoever her daughter got married to, because it just says, their future son-in-law or son-in-law, treat my baby right, make sure you take care of her, whoop de whoop, whatever, whatever. And what's that old video? Oh, I'm gonna do that anyway because that's what I do. It's just like, you not telling me nothing. I don't even know you, and you really like kind of scarred my lady. So why would I listen to you anyway? I'm not. So go on about your business. And the lovely couple lives happily ever after. But I feel like I really didn't do it justice. Read it for yourself because Kaylyn did an amazing job. The book was really good. I really enjoyed it. I really sat there and like read both of them back to back in one day. Like, I could not put it down. It was a great story. I like her. Like, now when I say details and like give us descriptions and draw out stuff, this is what I mean. Like, Kaylyn, you did a great job. Kudos to you. I can't wait. I actually got a book of hers in my library that I do need to read, and I think it's the part 2 of Trust My Love, Not Their Lie. I think it is. I gotta go look. Because I got a Nikki Brown story that I just read that I want to talk about that too. So let me go. Anyway, peace and blessings, my beautiful people. Hope you enjoyed the episode. See you later.